Do you think I need a lanyard? I have one, but I'm gonna clip one. No, this says Rotoride on it. I don't want that in any sort of video content. Today we're talking about small drones, very small ones, specifically sub 250 drones, non-lethal drones. Those are the drones that we're talking about today. So get ready for FPV drone talk. So I've been getting more into tiny whoops again, and it started back when I started racing tiny whoops back in the winter time. And then I decided, you know what? I'm probably just gonna fly micro drones more so than I am 5-inch drones from now on. I'm gonna look at my camera with this, whoa, come on. No air mode on right now. Tiny whoop, tiny whoop, tiny whoop time. The cost of everything is significantly lower. You can fly pretty much anywhere. You really won't have any issues flying them in most public places because they're so small and so harmless and they weigh nothing. Like the other day, I was able to just go downtown and find pretty much any random place and fly my tiny whoop around because they're so small and so non-invasive that it didn't really matter. Dude, there must be just a lot of wind right now, so I'm shaking. Okay, one thing I want to mention right now in the middle of this video, patreon.com. I'm going to try and make more of an effort to actively update my Patreon and do more in my Patreon. If you want to support me in any way, that's great. Do that. If not, do whatever you want. I don't care.
How much is that for that whole thing?
For just the drone? Or?
Yeah, well, I mean, the drone and everything, man. Those things are slick. And they're small, too.
For $100, you can get yourself an analog tiny whoop, which, in comparison to a 5-inch FPV drone, which will cost you about $400, that's like a 25%, that's like 75% off of your FPV experience. And to me, that just sounds like a better deal. The most expensive part of all of it are going to be the goggles and the radio.
That is nice. So the whole package is probably, you said what, $500 for the goggles, $100 for the drone?
Yeah.
Now, the little controls come with it too, don't they?
Nope.
You buy it all separate.
Wow, so you're probably looking at about $1,000.
Yeah.
And these little frames are like $5 at most. So if you break one of those frames, you're really not out of much. Versus if you're flying a 5-inch and you break a frame, let's say you break an arm on your 5-inch frame, that's gonna be like $8 to $15 depending on the frame. So you can effectively buy about 6 tiny whoops for the price of one 5-inch FPV drone. Like if you're just worried about cost, flying tiny whoops is definitely going to be cheaper in the long run if you're just going to fly analog. But even if you are going to get a digital system on your tiny whoop, you're still going to be saving a considerable amount of money. That doesn't mean that I'm completely giving up flying 5-inch because there's just something different about flying a heavier quad. It just feels different. You go faster and there's just something about it. But tiny whoops just offer a whole nother level of freedom that you can't get with a 5-inch. You can fly them inside. That's another great thing about them is if it's raining outside like it is right now, you can fly these inside your house and no problem at all. The only thing you really got to worry about is if you have a dog and a water bowl, it may land in the water bowl. Now, for some FPV pilots, tiny whoops and micros are really their only option because of where they live. For example, my friend and fellow FPV pilot, FPV vegan, that's a lot of words to say. He lives in New York City, so for him to fly larger drones that aren't tiny whoops or micros is going to be a little bit more of a challenge because you really can't just bring a massive 5-inch FPV drone into the middle of Times Square and fly around. In a place like that, tiny whoops are just more suitable. I also find that micro tiny whoop drones are just a little bit more durable than larger drones because they're lighter. You can crash them multiple times before anything breaks on them. They absorb way more impact. They don't go as fast, and they're way lighter, so they're not going to take as much damage. Now, the frames can break, obviously, but a replacement frame is like $5. You can break motors, but a set of 4 motors is like $40. But with that, I have found that flight controllers on them, being that everything's so small and lightweight, things do tend to fail a little bit more. But I don't know, I've had the same tiny whoops for several months now and I've had no issues. I will say something about this HG0 whoop board. Not bad. I mean, the battery life on it isn't great, but it's lighter and you don't have to have 2 things stacked up on top of each other like you do with the Eco. I've had my issues with HG0 VTXs, but the HG0 AIO that I have for my tiny whoop right now has been pretty solid. It's held up. It's held up. Now, the one thing I will mention about the HG0 AIO is that it does drain battery faster than my analog tiny whoop. So there's that to keep in mind. Now, that's not an endorsement. This is not a paid ad. They're not paying me for this or anything, and they didn't send me one. It would be cool, though, if HG0 would send me stuff from time to time, and then I can make videos talking about it if you're watching. So really, the benefit to tiny whoops is they're more durable and cheaper. That's overall my whole entire point. And I think that that's primarily going to be my focus going forward is mainly tiny whoops. I don't know if I'm really gonna get out and fly 5-inch much anymore. I may a little bit, but I'm running out of places to do that around where I live, and I can pretty much fly my tiny whoop anywhere that I want.